ensuring that the system is practical, applicable, and grounded in real-world school setting. At this point, we will now proceed to assessment center simulation. The members will assume their respective roles as principal, master teacher, and teachers, and will demonstrate how performance is assessed during the given scenario. The simulation will show how performance is observed, how evidence is collected and reviewed, and how initial performance rating
Meto
are
ni sa iya ni.
role play, we aim to
Biron
demonstrate
ka no.
the actual application of our performance
Magtimpla
management
di ko
system
diri.
in
Klase
a
ko
school
diri.
setting, highlighting both strength and potential gaps that will later be addressed in validation phase. The scenario is
Mahulog ka yan.
in Mahayahay Elementary School, the school head conducted the annual review, teachers' individual performance commitment and review ratings as part of strengthening the school's performance management system. Upon initial review, three teachers presented constructing cases. Okay, teacher one or the teacher A received a satisfactory rating across selected indicators. However, upon examination, the teacher submitted complete, verifiable, and well-documented evidence, including assessment results, aligned lesson plans, and validated attendance record. The evidence showed consistency between reported performance and actual student outcomes. Okay, let's go to teacher B. Teacher B was rated outstanding in most indicators. However, during the validation, it was observed that some required evidence was missing or insufficiently documented. While reported accomplishments were high, there was limited supporting proof, and some indicators lacked independent verification, such as observation records and assessment
Oh,
validation.
wala eh.
Okay, let's go
Dili ka
to
pasakit ni
teacher
ate,
C.
oh. Dili ka pasakit ni ate. Ikaw ang pasakit
Okay,
kay ate.
teacher C obtained very
Oh,
satisfactory
balik mo kay
ratings,
ate ka diyan sa
supported
oh.
on a comprehensive portfolio that included
Ayo, yun.
lesson plans,
Dili ka
student
pasakit ni
outputs,
ate
and
lagi.
records of professional development.
Love ka
While
ni
the
ate.
portfolio demonstrated effort and organization, further validation was needed to confirm whether the documented
Ayaw,
practices consistently transmitted into
ayaw lagi ginapos si
measurable
ate.
student
Dili ka ate
outcomes.
na.
These cases
Na.
raised critical concern
Love
for
ka.
the
Ayaw
school
yan.
head, whether
Yang
ratings
oy.
truly reflected
Oh, ikaw
actual
ang tanggalon mo siya.
performance, the
Hawak
reliability
ka
and
na, te.
sufficiency of evidence submitted, and the potential
Sige, pagkuha mo siya.
presence
Tara,
of
tara.
rating
Paon mo siya.
inflation or inconsistency of evaluation
Yan na nga si ate din mo, ha?
standards. As a
Love na din ang si ate
result,
din mo, ha?
the school initiated a performance validation process to verify alignment between ratings and evaluation and evidence. Apply triangulation using multiple data sources such as student results, observation, and audits. And to ensure that all ratings are fair, evidence-based, and
Ilang percent na
defensible.
eh?
This scenario
99.
highlights
99?
the
Mm.
importance of not relying solely on reported ratings, but instead ensuring that all performance assessments are validated, consistent, and supported by credible evidence. Okay, welcome to phase 2 of our simulation, where we will witness a critical examination of performance evaluation within a school setting. This session presents a real scenario of rating inconsistencies, professional dialogue, and leadership intervention. As the discussion unfolds, we will see how decisions are questioned, evidence is scrutinized, and accountability is upheld. More importantly, this phase highlights how is at conference room of Maya High Elementary School under the Department of Education. Presents are the principal, Gomer Erong, master teacher, Ma'am Jeline Divina Gracia, teacher A as teacher A, Ma'am Jubilee Nabor, teacher B, Ma'am Sheila May Kaitan, and teacher C, yours truly, Ma'am Regina Patricia. The meeting is formal but tense. Let us now begin.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for coming. I call this meeting because after reviewing the official ratings, I noticed some inconsistencies between the rating given and the evidence presented. I want us to go through this carefully because performance ratings must be fair, evidence-based, and defensible.
Good afternoon, sir. I understood the concern, but for me, I base my ratings on the submitted documents and my observations.
That's what we need to examine. Let's start with teacher. Teacher Joaquin, you received a satisfactory rating in some indicators. However, I reviewed your documents and they appear complete and unaffected. Can you walk us through your evidence?
Yes, sir. I submitted my learners' assessment results showing improvement in mastery levels. My lesson plans align with enhanced K to 12 curriculum and attendance records. All of these were verified and consistent with my report.
I saw that your student mastery rate even improved over the last quarter. Why was this rated satisfactory? Ma'am Jimmy,
Sir, while teacher Jubilin met expectations, I did not see enough indicators that demonstrated performance beyond the standard level.
that's a valid point. Improvement and impact should consider, not just compliance. Did we fully consider outcomes-based performance here?
Jubilin? Can you explain to Sir Gomer your rating to your students' achievement? Yes, ma'am. With due respect, ma'am, I believe my results reflect more than just meeting expectation. My students improved from 78% to 86% mastery. I also implemented intervention strategies.
That's a valid point. Improvement and impact should consider, not just compliance. Ma'am Jinli,
Perhaps I focus more on baseline expectations, sir, rather than growth and outcomes. I will check on it.
that's something we need to correct. A teacher with strong, validated outcomes should not be underrated. Now, Teacher Sheila, you receive an outstanding rating.
Yes, sir. I consistently perform beyond expectations in my classes.
That may be the case, but I noticed gaps in your submitted evidence. Some indicators lack documentation, particularly observation records and assessment quality.
I admit that not all documents were
Gusto mo ba ka
compiled,
ng klase ko?
sir, but my performance is
Kasi
reflected
na
in my
dahil nagpuli sa
outputs.
duyan. O, wala naman.
And also, sir, I considered
Oo.
teacher Sheila's overall performance and previous track record.
That's really nice. I think
Nagbigawa
that
sa mo ba?
you will like my reason.
Awak, babe. Ah.
I understand, sir. I can provide additional documents if needed.
That would be necessary because without sufficient evidence, an outstanding rating cannot be fully
Kuan sa nakatak
justified.
mo. Aga. Ang sama na.
Teacher
Ay.
Regina, you rated very
Aga, ang
satisfactory.
sama na.
submitted a portfolio, right?
Yes, sir. My portfolio
Awak
includes
bikin
lesson
dah kelas
plans, student outputs, and records of professional development.
Your documentation is well organized. However, I want to clarify, how do we know this translates into actual student learning outcomes?
I included assessment results, sir, and samples of students' work to demonstrate learning progress.
That is why I rated teacher Regina, sir, as very satisfactory. She has a strong documentation, but I wanted further confirmation of consistent impact to our learners.
That's reasonable. A portfolio is strong, but we must ensure it reflects actual performance, not just documentation effort. System issue discussion. Now, looking at the bigger picture, I see a pattern. A teacher with strong evidence rated lower. A teacher with incomplete evidence rated higher. A teacher with organized documentation needing further validation. This suggests inconsistency in how ratings are aligned.
I see your point, sir. There may be have differences in how I interpreted the indicators.
And that's exactly why we need a standard validation process. Let's proceed to the coaching and mentoring intervention. Before we proceed to validation, I want us to pause and shift into coaching. This is not just about correcting ratings, it's about improving how we evaluate performance as a team. Ma'am Jenly, let me start with you as the rater. What challenges
Aray
did
na
you
ma.
encounter in assessing performance objectively?
Sir, I realized that I relied heavily on general impressions and prior performance. I may not have consistently applied evidence-based standards.
Thank you for your honesty.
Maana.
That's an important
Naana.
realization. Moving forward,
Ay, wala pa.
I want to focus
Oo.
you on one key principle. Performance must be judged on current, verifiable evidence, not perception. Let me ask, what could you do differently next time to ensure fairness and consistency?
Maybe I should ensure that all ratings are supported by complete documentation and align them with outcome-based indicators.
Exactly. That's a strong improvement point. I will mentor you on applying triangulation, combining student outcomes, observation results, and validated assessment before giving a rating. So we will focus Teacher Jubilin. Teacher Jubilin, your case shows strong performance, but possible underrating. Let me ask, how do you usually present your accomplishments?
Sir, I submit all required documents, but I don't always highlight the impact clearly.
That's where I want to coach you. Evidence is not just about completeness, it's about demonstrating impact. Next time, I suggest first, clearly presenting before and after data. Example, mastery improvement. Second, highlighting interventions results. Lastly, connecting your work directly to student outcomes. Would you be willing to improve how you package your evidence?
Yes, sir, I appreciate that guidance.
So let's move to Teacher Sheila. Teacher Sheila, case is different. You demonstrate strong performance, but documentation is incomplete. Let me ask you directly, what prevented you from submitting complete evidence?
Sir, I focus more on implementation than documentation. I
That's a common challenge. But in performance evaluation, if it is not documented, it cannot be validated. Here's my mentoring advice, Ma'am Sheila. First, you have to develop a system for organizing evidence regularly. Second, you have to align each document to specific IPCR indicators. Lastly, you have to ensure all claims are verifiable and can you commit to strengthening your documentation process, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I will improve on that.
Okay, thank you. Let's proceed to Teacher Regina. Teacher Regina, your documentation is strong and organized. That's commendable. But let me challenge you further. How do you ensure that your portfolio reflects actual classroom impact, not just compliance?
Sir, I include student outputs and assessment results.
Good. To limit your performance, move from one documentation to demonstration of sustained impact. I encourage you to first track long-term student progress. Second, include analysis of results, not just records. Lastly, show your strategies consistently improve learning.
Thank you, sir. I will enhance that aspect po.
So let's synthesize this. Let me summarize our coaching points. First, performance must be evidence-based, not assumed. Second, documentation must be complete, organized, and aligned. Third, impact on learners must be clearly demonstrated. Lastly, evaluation must be fair, consistent, and validated. This is not about hope, it is about professional growth. As your school head, my role is not just only to evaluate, but to develop you. We grow together by strengthening both performance and accountability.
Okay, thank you so much everyone for a technical and engaging simulation. This case has shown that performance evaluation is not only simply about assigning ratings, but about ensuring fairness, consistency, and professional growth. Through open dialogue and leadership guidance, gaps are addressed and practices are strengthened. As we move forward, may we carry the same commitment to evidence, integrity, continuous improvement in our school, in our schools. This concludes the phase two. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Regina. From this moment, I will be presenting to you, I will be giving the floor to Sir Gomer Erong for the Phase 3 simulation. Performance validation, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for the time. Performance validation is a critical component of an effective performance management system, ensuring that organizational goals, employee outputs, and evaluation processes are aligned, accurate, and meaningful. In the context of performance management, validation refers to the systematic assessment of whether performance metrics, appraisal tools, and evaluation methods truly measures what they are intended to measure and support organizational objectives. A well-validated performance management system enhances fairness, transparency, and credibility with an organization. It ensures that performance indicators are relevant, reliable, and free from bias, allowing managers to make informed decisions regarding promotions, compensation, training, and development. Without proper validation, performance evaluations may become potentially leading to employee dissatisfaction and reduced organizational effectiveness. Moreover, performance validation supports continuous improvement by identifying gaps between expected and actual outcomes by regularly reviewing and refining performance measures. Organizations can adapt to changing business environments, improve employee engagement, and strengthen overall productivity. In this way, performance validation not only safeguard the integrity of performance management system, but also contributes to long-term organizational success. Now, please take a look. No, we have to visualize the different performance validation as co-leaders. Now, we have four phases. No, the validation initiation, the data gathering, the analysis and review, and the certification and adjustment. Now, for validation initiation, this is the process set up. Now, the tools or the instrument that you are going to use is the validation plan and timeline. And our primary basis is the defeat order number 2 series of 2015. This talks about the RTMS PTSD implementation. Defeat order number 2 series of 2015 is a policy issued by the Department of Education that establishes and institutionalizes the results-based performance management system or RPMS for all defeat personnel. What it is all about. This order provides the official guidelines for how performance is planned, monitored, evaluated, and developed among teaching and non-teaching staff in DepEd. The main objectives of Defeat Order number 2 Series 2015 is to align individual performance with DepEd goals and priorities, ensure fair, objective, and measurable performance evaluation, promote professional growth and development, and strengthen accountability and transparency in the organization. The key components of RPMS, no, as stated in Defeat Order number 2, Series 2015, is the number one, performance planning and commitment. No, the setting of targets using tools like the individual performance commitment and review form, the IPCRF, in which the teachers are now busy this time preparing their IPCRF. Second, the performance monitoring and coaching. This happens in the middle of the school year. No? The regular feedback, coaching, and tracking of progress. Third, the performance review and evaluation. No? Assessment of accomplishment based on agreed indicators. And lastly, this is the time that the teachers receive their rating, no? The performance rewarding and development planning. The recognition, no? The incentives, and creation of the development plans, like the individual performance development plan. So why is it important, the DO2 series of 2015? Because employees clearly understand expectations. Second, performance ratings are evidence-based, and results lead to actionable development. Example, training and coaching. So who will do it? No? The school leader's key action is to set groups and assign roles. Now let's proceed to the second phase, the data gathering. No? On-site and remote. And the instrument is the validated data sheets. Our legal basis for this is the DO 35 series of 2016, which is the conduct of learning action cell and the ISMEA. DO Department of Education that institutionalizes the Learning Action Cell as a school-based professional development strategy for teachers. What it is all about? This order establishes LAC as a regular collaborative learning sessions where teachers and school leaders work together to improve teaching practices and address classroom challenges. Its objective is to improve teaching quality and student learning outcomes, provide continuous professional development at the school level, encourage collaboration, reflection, and sharing of best practices, and to help teachers respond to curriculum and instructional issues under the K-12 program. The key features of DO 35 series of 2016, it should be conducted regularly in schools, no? Often during in-service trainings or scheduled sessions. It could be uh, twice a month, no? Half day. Mm. Focus on topics such as teaching strategies, learner diversity, assessment methods, and classroom management. So, school leaders' key action is to review evidence and conduct observations. That's why it's very necessary that teachers should gather their evidence, no, in attending lab sessions because this is part of their portfolio, no, of their IPCR. The third phase is the analysis and review. No, this is the alignment and the integrity. The tool or the instrument that we are going to use is the performance review forms, no? The PMCF. So on the one, may I check on this? May I refer to you DP order number 29 series of 2022 regarding the ISMEA. It's not DO12 series of 2019, but rather, no, as I researched further, it can be found in DP order number 29 series of 2022. This order establishes the basic education monitoring and evaluation framework, no, the BEMEF, which serves as the official system for monitoring and evaluation performance across all different levels. Under this framework, ISMEA is a required activity conducted regularly, no, usually quarterly at the school level. No? We have ISMEA, we have DIMEA. School uses ISMEA to track progress, assess performance, and adjust plans based on data and outcomes. Then Division Memoranda consistent cite DO 29 Series 22 as the legal basis for conducting ISMEA and related reviews. Again, let me correct. It's not DO 12 Series of 2019 about ISMEA, but it is DO 29 Series of 2022. No? The school leader's key action is to issue certificate and guide adjustment. Sorry, provide validation feedback and recommendations. The last phase is the certification and adjustment. No? The actionable results. No? So this is the time that we have the adjusted the individual performance development plan, no, and the office performance development plan, and the legal basis, no, the primary basis for this is DO 42 series of 2017. Let me correct. It's not DO 40 series of 2023. Let me correct. It is DO 42 series of 2017. A key performance DepEd Order number 2, Series 2015, which institutionalized the RPMS sorry, for all teaching and non-teaching personnel. Under this order, the individual performance development plan required as a tool for professional development. It serves as a guide for employees, especially teachers, to identify their strengths, areas for improvement, and specific development activities aligned with their performance goals. The individual performance development plan is further supported and updated through Deputy Order number 42, series of 2017, which aligns teachers' development with the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. This ensures that professional growth plans are competency-based and anchored on national teaching standards. On this, the validation principles discovers objectivity, accuracy, and transparency. And during the validation outcomes, this covers